Thank you for coming. The access to justice has always been a priority for the Supreme Court of Texas. We created the Access to Justice Foundation in 1984 to help administer IOLTA funds. Betty Bailey-Torres is here, the executive director. Dick Tate, the chair of the foundation, is here. We created the Access to Justice Commission in 2001 to help strategize and coordinate the various access to justice efforts in Texas. And Trish McAllister is here, the executive director. And Jim Sales, former chair of that group, is here. And Harry Reasoner's around here somewhere. And we appreciate all of their efforts, as well as those of Randy Chapman, who is always helping us with these efforts. The current situation for access to justice in Texas is challenging, to use that euphemism. There are some 5.7 million Texans who qualify for legal aid. Texas poverty rate is about 17.4%. These people need legal help with domestic abuse, elderly benefits, prescriptions. Veterans returning from service need legal services. Texas has 1.7 million veterans living here, I think more than any other state. Foreclosures, all sorts of things that are ordinary, basic civil legal services, but the people don't have access to a lawyer and therefore access to the justice to which they're entitled. Current efforts help about 100,000 families a year, but that's only 1 in 5, we think, of those who need the help. 100,000 plus, but still only 1 in 5 who could use the legal services. It's not for want of trying on the bar's part. The lawyers in Texas, 93,000 basically, contribute millions of hours of free time every year, worth hundreds of millions of dollars. And legal aid providers help with training, with providing lawyers, with providing an access point for people who need the help. But again, the need is very large, and we need the resources to help strengthen the delivery of legal aid to Texans. IOLTA has cratered in the last several years. It was $20 million in 2007. It's projected to be about $4 million last year. LSC federal funding has been cut, as has the federal budget in many areas. Local bars, lawyers, others have tried to make up the difference with fees and contributions, but still we fall very far short of where we were just a few years ago. In 2009, the legislature stood to this challenge and appropriated $20 million in general revenue. Last session, we had hoped that IOLTA rates would be higher, but they weren't, and the legislature again appropriated $17.5 million to keep us afloat. And this year, we have asked to maintain that same level of funding, even though the total spent will be down no matter what, and the need continues to grow. So this is a very dire situation for access to justice efforts, but one we appreciate the legislature's help on. We've asked a couple of our legislators here who are going to help us with bills this time, and I'll introduce them to you now for a few words. First, Chairman Sinfronia Thompson, a great champion of legal services.
Thank you so much, Justice Heck. And members of the media, I want to thank you because it is because of you that we are able to get this message out and to let people know that services are available to them. One of the things that we recognize the fact that the courthouse doors must be open not only for those who can afford it, but also those who need it and may not be able to afford it. this help is so essential to people, particularly our veterans, who will come back from the service that they have rendered to their country, and many times may find themselves in need of legal services in a civil matter, and may not have the kinds of funds that they can afford to be able to hire attorneys or lawyers to be able to represent them. Therefore, these funds are available to them so that they would have representation throughout their legal process. I'm reminded of the fact that just a heck, when I was a law student, one of the things that we used to do, we used to have to do legal aid. And I used to tell my colleagues, listen, it's lunchtime, let's put this phone on, let's put this phone on busy so we can have lunch. And then we get a call from somebody who was in dire need of legal services. And then you started thinking, I don't want to put a phone on busy. I want to be able to reach out and help that person with the knowledge and the skills that I'm acquiring as a student here at the university that I'm attending, and to be able to make their life much better, to go into court and represent them and give them the kind of legal representation that they deserve, even though they don't have money to hire the millions of dollars lawyers that may be up against them. One of the things that I am delighted to say that we have bills this session of the legislature that we're going to raise the cap of the amount of funds that's going to be able to come into this fund, where we can raise the increase the number of persons who will be able to receive the benefit of the legal services. Justice Heck has told you about the pro bono services that are rendered by many lawyers throughout our state, who render services to individuals so that they would be able to be represented in civil matters, and those are very critical matters, as we all know. I'm happy to be a part of the legislative process in which we're going to be able to get something done, and to get House Bill 1445, which is urgently needed to help address the critical funding of the shortfall. We know that we are in a crisis economically, but we also recognize that there are individuals within our community who would like to receive services, who need representation, who needs monies, and we want to be able to have an opportunity to be able to share the funds with them, so that we will be able to give them the kind of legal representation that they deserve, the kind of legal representation that is needed, and to be able to address those very critical and critical issues civilly that they are confronted with. So I appreciate the media so very much. Because of you, we're able to get the message out and let them know you may have a legal problem, you may not have funds, but there are agencies within our community, within our state, who are available to help you, to assist you to be able to address those critical issues.
Thank you, Chairman Thompson, a lawyer and leader in the Senate who understands these issues very well, is Senator Robert Duncan.
Thank you, Justice Heck. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to the Texas Supreme Court for the leadership that the court has provided on this issue. As we all know, our civil legal system is complex, and there are those in our communities that are simply unable to afford legal assistance or legal counsel to navigate either in child custody issues, family law issues, our veterans in some of these issues, that they just need legal help. And this program has always been designed to do that, and basically has run short because of problems that we've all been seeing with our economy, and the ALTA program doesn't support it. So what we need to do is have a stable source of funding. We debated this last session, and we finally did it with general revenue. General revenue should be a part of this funding source, but also this bill that Chairman Thompson and I and others will be presenting to the legislature provides a stable source of funding that we believe will be very helpful to help to further this mission of providing legal services for those who need it and can't afford it. So I want to say thank you for what you've done. I want to thank the Texas Bar Association that's been very active in this particular mission to try to provide legal services for all of those who need it.
Thanks very much, Senator, and I know you have to make other meetings. Another legislator who will be helping us in the House with this legislation is Representative Sarah Davis.
Thank you very much. I'm very honored to be a part of this effort, As you can see, it is a bipartisan effort, which is sometimes rare here in Austin. So I think it's important that people know that both Republicans and Democrats can support ideas like access to justice. I was personally moved to get involved and really to care about the foundation last session when I was serving on the Judiciary and Civil Jurisprudence Committee. And a woman came and testified during the public testimony part and when we were talking about access to justice. And she told a story about how she actually lived and was from a very wealthy part of Houston and was a victim of domestic violence and had all of her assets, or access to her assets, frozen. And so she had to turn to legal aid and for services. So it can affect all levels of economic stratospheres. And I was so moved by her story, I went to talk to her afterwards, and she confessed that she lived in my district and was a constituent and had voted for me. And that I will never forget hearing how this commission really helped her. And then it became not just an abstract idea of access to justice, but became a very real program that helps people that I represent. So I want to say that thank you to the court for being so active on this issue, and for the bar and everyone that's been involved. As an attorney, I have many colleagues among the vast group of Texas lawyers who donate more than 2 million hours of free legal indirect services to low-income Texans annually. And as you've heard, there's just still a large unmet need. I believe there are approximately 80% of the legal needs of poor Texans who desperately need services are unable to get them. You've heard about how legal aid can help. It can help people from losing their homes. It can help children. It can help victims of domestic violence. It can help our veterans who have sacrificed so much for this country. And the value of legal aid goes beyond the individuals that it represents. It really does serve a higher purpose, ensuring that the doors of the courthouse are open to all. Providing access to justice is a cornerstone of our democracy, and I'm very proud to play a role in leading the effort for this legislation.
Thanks very much. The lady Representative Davis referred to turned to me in this room last session and said, "Tell the Supreme Court they saved my life." So I did do that, and it had a profound effect on my colleagues, because the efforts of access to justice are etched in the lives of the people who gain representation. And we have one with us today. Julia Rodriguez, an attorney and the Director of Legal Services for Family Violence Prevention in San Antonio, is here, and we'll introduce her.
My agency, Family Violence Prevention Services, the Battered Women and Children's Shelter in San Antonio, is one of several agencies in Texas that receives funding to provide free legal services for indigent clients. Specifically, my agency provides legal services for victims of domestic violence. I'm here today to introduce Margarita Sanchez, who is one of our clients, who I met the same week that she had been released from the hospital, right after she had been stabbed multiple times by her husband. When Margarita came into my office, she was black and blue. She had visible stab wounds, and she was very confused. She had some papers in her hand, and she said something about she thought her husband had filed for divorce, but she thought he had dropped it. And I quickly found out in that meeting that just before he had assaulted her and nearly killed her, he'd actually filed for a divorce against her and gotten orders to prevent her from returning back into the home. So she was at our shelter without any of her property, without being able to go back in the home, and without any protection. She was particularly terrified because she thought her husband was going to be released from jail soon, which he was, and she didn't have any protection. So our agency was able to help her with her divorce and finalize her divorce and to help her obtain a protective order. While Margarita's story is shocking and horrible, unfortunately, it is not an unusual story in San Antonio, in Bexar County, or in any other county in this state. And while we, as an agency, were fortunate enough to help Margarita and to be able to help other victims like her, there are many, many more that never walk through the doors of my agency that I never meet and that I have no idea what happened to. And so Margarita is a success story, but I encourage everyone to assist with legal services because this literally is life-saving.
My name is Margarita Sanchez. I went to the shelter on May 19, 2011, after being released from the hospital. Just days after my husband assaulted me, he slapped me against the wall several times and stabbed me. He stabbed me with a kitchen knife. This was not the first time my husband had assaulted me. He had threatened me with a gun and threatened to kill me, and he was going to kill himself. He drowned my dog. He forced me to quit my job that I had for 12 years. He forced me to get rid of my car. He locked me in the house, setting the alarm so that he would know when I would leave. He did not allow me to contact my family, my friends, or go anywhere without him. He had been arrested once before for assaulting me, but I had dropped the charges because he told me